I'm gonna join on two devices because can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna join on two devices because like I thought I finally had it where my main laptop was gonna work, but of course it decided to not turn on even though it turned on 3 minutes ago.
Okay. That always tends to happen. My big one is updates. I never need
Hmm.
an update unless I have a time sensitive thing that I've got to do. And that's when my old computer decided now is the time it has to update.
Is there any way you could be the one screen sharing tonight?
Absolutely. I've got two
Okay.
screens. I've got a giant, it's like a 47-inch TV,
Oh wow.
two of them. And then I've got two more on my wall because I work on massive documents. So we got that. Let me find mine. Okay. And then I fell asleep because I took my medicine. So I just finished like 5 minutes ago with all my slides. Oh,
Hey, that's okay. Your slides look a lot better than mine.
huh?
I said that's okay. Your slides look really good from what I saw.
Luckily do this for a profession, so I can throw together a slideshow like nobody's business and very quickly. All right. And what we'll do is any of our incumbent board members who join, we'll just ask them to stay a couple minutes at the end to make sure they don't have any questions about summer board. And I think I remember the big thing I was going to tell them was to explain that we are in a camp setting, so they have to bring their own bedding. It's not a hotel. And that we'll be preparing the food. So if there's any food allergies, like we need to know in advance because we have to do a grocery order. And then just make sure that they're watching their emails for their adult, their zone chair.
I'm here. Sorry about that.
No, no, no. Plug my computer in just in case. I do so much computer work that I don't actually have a computer chair. I have
Meeting is being recorded.
like an actual, just like giant spinny chair that's deep enough that I can put my legs completely straight out and just my ankles hang off.
Let's see.
All right, so I'm gonna just share my present, and that way we can go through it and make sure. Yep. So,
Best way to do this because I got two devices going on, and like when we're doing the caucus, I wanted to see like who was raising their hand more than just my phone.
yeah, I get that. So, uh, Icon Town Hall. All right. So, do you want me to talk about Icon?
I think that would be best.
Okay, so we have a slightly adjusted itinerary. Steve just got that to me yesterday.
Okay.
I talked to him for like 2 hours going through everything. We've got everything pretty much finalized. We'll be sending it out. Before I forget, we're not mentioning the changes to the dress code yet because when I talked to Steve about it, I was asking for his advice on how to implement that since we don't want to wait till after summer board, right? That would only give people 2 weeks. Although if we are changing district policy, it needs to be voted on. So what we kind of came to an agreement, and I want to make sure that you agree with this as well, I'm meeting with Aubrey and the laws and regs. We will get the wording of the dress code adjusted, send it out to the board members and ask everyone to reply if they agree or not. And once we hit a majority agreeing, then we'll use it and then officially vote it in at the meeting.
Sure.
Okay, which we don't think it'll be a problem since we're loosening restrictions on dress code as opposed to tightening restrictions. I have very little doubt that they will put up a fuss. But that way we're still abiding, like the board is having a say in it. The adult thing, that's like an adult chaperone has to be present. That's an adult policy that the adult committee talks about. So Steve and I discussed that and we're all on the same page there. But dress code, that is something that the student board does.
Okay.
So that's how we'll handle it. So we've got departure times, free day. Now, how we are going to do the free day thing is after this meeting, I'm sending out an email that will have a link to a sign up because we need to see if we have enough people to offer group rates. The rest of these, some of them did have group rates, but it was only like $1 cheaper each. So we weren't going to try to fuss with that because we've only got like 39 people going. So we wouldn't have enough for more than 2 group rate items. So we picked the 2 group rates to focus on that would give the most discount, which was the aquarium and Six Flags Over Georgia. We can have transportation there. So Steve had already talked to the bus company. We worked it out. We can have district provided transportation. But to make sure we have enough people going, we're going to do an online sign up. Will basically be like a table or a spreadsheet, something on Google Docs that they put their name where they want to go. They will have to send us the money by a certain time. And what I might do is have them send it directly to me. And then like we'll cover it like that because I've got Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all that. So they can send it to me and then I'll write a check to the district to cover the ticket price, but they have to pay in advance because in the past, what has happened is they said, oh yeah, we'll go and we order the ticket and the district pays for it. And then they decide not to, and we're stuck holding all these tickets. So they have to pay in advance if they want the group rate. Otherwise, they can do it on their own and register. We'll, give them details on how to do that in the email. But the 2 locations we're going is Centennial Park and Six Flags Over Georgia. Centennial Park has all of these different things that they can do. Six Flags only has the one. The problem is they'll only get like 4 hours at Six Flags because they have to leave by 4:30 at the latest to get back to pick up the people at Centennial Park and then get to the hotel in time to change. And it doesn't open till 11. So I guess like 5-ish hours. So they don't get a full day at the park. So that's the downside. All right, convention activities, and then our departure, nothing about that changed. Right, and then general expectations, what I will be going over is we want them checking their email often, at least every other day, because some of these things, like they have 5 days to reply that they want to do this so we can order tickets, right? We have to get it done in advance. We are there's a delegates meeting. I don't know if you saw that in
I did.
Okay, all right. So I couldn't remember if that was in the I council. I saw it in the DA one and I just skimmed over Kyle's email. Um, so delegates meeting, if at all possible, we want them to attend because as many people as get to that as possible means the fewer problems they'll have during House of Delegates getting the technology to work. If you remember last year, it was a complete cluster. Like it was bad. So I can't make it mandatory, but we want them to attend if at all possible, if they know they're going to be a delegate. And I can explain how they know they're a delegate. But that's it. And I didn't want to provide the link here because you're giving the one to the Dues Town Hall. And I think that one's sooner, they need to register for that one first. And I didn't want to muddy the waters there. We're going to be giving them deadlines. Basically, I'm asking them make sure they do the deadlines, right? The reason we give them a deadline is because we have certain things that have to be done in time. And then I gave some specific things. So everyone, they've got to sign up for their free time activity, even if they just say, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm staying at the hotel. I want to know where everyone, we need to see about where everyone's going so we can make arrangements. And then complete their online forms. We're going to try to get all the forms done online, and then I will just print the copies to give to International. I'm doing them as a fillable PDF. They don't have to have any special like program to run it. They can do it directly from, like, I'm getting everything set up to make that easy for them to do.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I don't want to have to deal with waiting for the day of to get papers as they get on the bus. I want them all in advance, a week before Icon. And then that's where we'll have all that as well. And then I'm rolling out that adult code of conduct. So they'll get a separate code of conduct and a separate medical form. It's mainly for the adults. It's mainly, is there anything important we need to know about if something happens, and who do we contact if something happens? Everything else, we don't need as much as that we do for students. And then adult chaperones have to do their background checks and Presidium training. I did highlights of code of conduct. Right. And I'm specifying here that each group has to follow their respective code of conducts. I'm not going to get into all the adult ones. It's mainly the same things, right? No smoking, vaping, or any other tobacco. Whether you're a student or adult, not allowed to use tobacco products. That's a Kiwanis International rule, not KT. I'm sure adults will break it, but they can't do it in front of their students at least. No drugs aside from prescription or over the counter or alcohol. Follow the dress code. I just left it vague. Follow the dress code, and then they'll see the dress code when it gets sent out. And then I'm throwing this rule out here about the adult, right? They've got to be with an adult. Now, what we will do, and if anyone comes to you with questions, like, complaints, some of the places, like once we get to Centennial Park, because it's really only Wednesday that this is an issue. Once they get to Centennial Park, they're fine in groups, right? Once they get to Six Flags, they're fine in groups. We're going to let them, there's like Peachtree Center, which is you go through like a skyway, you don't even go on the road, and then it's a mall that's attached. We'll let students go in groups. The main thing is I don't want students out on the street navigating in public alone with the state that Atlanta's in right now. So
I agree.
So just so you know, I've had the discussion with Steve. So he's on the same page. If anyone goes to him with questions, if anyone comes to you with questions, that's how we're handling it. But I don't want to explain all that right now. I think it'll be confusing. So what we'll do is Tuesday night, when we have our meeting in like the suite, I will explain the rules in detail, and I'll probably have it printed out on like little postcard size, like quarter page things, so they don't have to remember all the chaperone rules about when they need an adult and when they don't.
Okay.
And then you'll be doing dues adjustment, right?
So I just wanted to confirm the way that I thought would be best to do this is I'm just going to go over the budget, talk about how they're operating at a deficit, and then if you go to the next slide, I was just going to go over the amendments, explain what they mean, talk about the town hall, and then pass it off to any adults or anyone else who have any comments to say about the dues.
Okay. Yeah. And one thing we try to stay as neutral as possible, the adults do, because we don't want to overly influence how the students view this. We truly like it to be a student decision. However, if there are multiple sides to it, we want to make sure that they understand those sides, right? So I think making sure, and this is something you can do, making sure they understand that for KT, this will mean a $6 dues increase, because it's going to be super confusing when we tell them 3 and 3 is what they're hearing all over the place, and then suddenly it's 6. And that's just because it's in our bylaws. So bylaws, that's something that the students themselves voted on. KT dues are the exact same as international dues. And we can't change that unless we go through, the whole process through House of Delegates and have a quorum and change the bylaws, which between us, we don't want to do that, because what'll happen is then it'll be separate votes essentially. So if we separate the two to where they don't go up together, then if, say, international votes to increase dues one year and they do it, okay, so then KT needs a dues increase. Next year, we're going to have to vote as a district to increase dues when a dues increase was just passed. So we are going to be less likely to get that increase. So that's why we don't want to don't want to do that. But I mean, we don't like to explain that to. Hey, Maddie, we are finished. Okay, so there's your stuff, and you came just in time. So mock caucus.
Hey, I am trying to get my laptop to work. It was working and it just shut off. So I may
Same
leave
thing happened
everything
to
in just a
me.
few. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with it. And my other one, I charged it a few minutes ago, did not charge. So sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so mock caucus. I think we should go over the rules first.
Okay.
Right. So what we'll do is we'll say, we want to be respectful. We'll let you give your speech. And then afterwards, there will be time for questions. I think, Jack, you can explain that procedure. You're welcome to go through the rules, right? We're treating it just like a regular caucus. Instead of saying like name and district, though, because everyone will be KT, I think for our purposes, we can do name and school.
Okay.
So Jack, you can call on them because you will be running it. They'll provide their name and school. And then I just put in here, ask good faith questions, right? Since there are so many candidates, Maddie, chances are, when I talked to Ms. Hamilton and Steve, they both thought that you're really only going to have about 5 minutes total between speech and questions.
That's true.
Yeah, so it'll be a little bit longer tonight, but yeah, we want to make sure that at least our kids are asking good faith questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Hi.
Is there any way, sorry, I'm like frantically trying to get this to work. Is there any way that we can do like one run, timing it for the 5 minutes, just so I have my speech balanced out for like how long I want allotted to that versus the caucus questions? So is there any way that we could run through that like at least once, just with the 5 minutes, and then like if you guys want to do more caucus questions after,
Yeah, let me make this bigger because it has shrunk down to where I just have a sidebar. Okay. And so is it Haley? Okay.
I was
If-
gonna
sorry, go ahead.
original night. I didn't know where she was running to. Well, I was worried about Gia getting in.
Okay, Haley, so we are gonna practice this real quick. Do you, can you hear me? No. Okay, if you can hear me, we're gonna run through the practice real quick. You are welcome to stay on here if that's okay with Maddie. But you'll just be hearing her speech twice. So you can either stay on and listen to it twice, or you can rejoin in like 5-ish, 7 minutes, something like that. Okay, so Maddie, I don't care to be timekeeper. If Jack, you want to manage.
If you could do that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Can you give me just 1 second? These computers, they were acting just fine. And it's the minute I try to get on.
And we'll allot a little bit extra time for questions, because the point of this is we want you to be prepared. So, you know, you get a good feel for the types of questions. And if there's a type of question that's not being asked, then we will cover those at the end. I talked to Dr. Harrell, Ms. Hamilton, and Steve to see like what are, you know, the types of questions that are most common during caucuses. And that's what I put on here for like question topics. And then yeah.
Is
And
there
then,
any way, sorry, go ahead.
and then I put example questions.
Okay. Is there any way that you can send me the recording of this just so I can like go back and kind of listen to my answers and all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. If y'all want me to do it now, I'm ready.
Yep, I will set a 5-minute timer. All right. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maddie Gravitt, and I'm running for the office position as an international trustee candidate with the unanimous endorsement of the Kentucky-Tennessee District. This past year, I had the honor of serving the KT District as the Division 5A Lieutenant Governor, Public Relations, and K-Family Committee Chair, where I also received the Robert F. Lucas Outstanding Lieutenant Governor Award, as well as the KT District's Governor's Award. On the club level, I served as treasurer for Maryville High School, and on the international level, I participated in the Global Leadership Certificate Masterclass. Outside of Key Club, I enjoy theater, student council, band, and volunteering with the East Tennessee Children's Hospital internship. As an upcoming senior, I recognize the need for passionate leaders to continue to serve and develop Key Club International to ensure we have a bright future for all members. And with that, I ask your support in helping me be a bigger part in that journey. I chose this position because of my love and passion for not only serving my community, but the hope that all of our impacts together can expand beyond each individual district and work together to continue building a bigger and brighter organization. On my campaign poster, you'll see that I've identified 6 key points that I believe will allow us to grow as an organization. I chose to use the acronym BRIGHT because Key Club, without a doubt, has been the brightest part of my high school career. The acronym BRIGHT stands for Build, Resources, Inspire and Involve, Grow, Highlight, and Together. To continue building our districts, I believe it's vital to host additional webinars throughout the year on varying topics, including leadership, membership development and retention, public speaking, and many more options. I believe it's hard to continue growing as an organization if we aren't giving everyone easily accessible resources. That would include the promotion of our programs and partners within KCI and other K-Family organizations, more awareness of scholarships, and encouraging members to participate in the GLC program at all member levels. I wouldn't be standing in front of you today if it wasn't for a friend telling me to take a risk. And with that, one of my main goals is to inspire others around me and increase awareness of leadership opportunities within Key Club. As trustee, it's vital to cater to each district's needs, and I'll work with each paired district to increase and retain membership, serve as a liaison between the district and international level, and make sure I'm highlighting each school service to recognize the positive impacts they've made in their own communities. Key Club is a worldwide organization with thousands of members who all make an impact on their homes, schools, and communities. And with these goals in mind, I'll strive to lead us forward to continue that we continue making a positive impact on every member and Key Club International as a whole. And with that, I ask you again in your support in this journey to continue creating a brighter future together. Thank you, and I yield my time.
I will now entertain caucus questions. Please state your name and home school.
Okay. Yep. So that was your speech, Maddie, was right around 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Yep. And I
Okay.
fixed it where there's a waiting room now. I accidentally hit the wrong setting when I scheduled the meeting. So sorry you guys had to sit through that who came in.
Hey, I'm gonna join on my laptop real quick.
Okay. Right. Hi, everyone. We'll be getting started in just a minute. We're gonna give everyone some more time to finish and we're gonna get everything ready to go. You doing, Rosie? I miss Patty.
How's everybody on this Friday afternoon?
We're going. It's- We're here and we've got people attending.
Which is
So,
a good thing.
yes.
Good thing.
It's a good thing. We got to get this one planned so we can finish planning for the next 2 weeks. And this time, 2 weeks from now, we'll be together.
Yep. And Patty, before I forget, at the very end, if you want to stay a few minutes, I just have a few questions for you and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely.
All right, Maddie, if you want to unmute and test your audio on your laptop, see if it's working.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
We'll give everyone a few more minutes. How's everyone's summer been? Start of summer.
been good. As
Busy. I'm doing summer school. So this was our first week of summer school.
Oh, geez. Are you taking the, like, will summer school finish before Icon, or are you just taking that with?
Yes, it's just the 4 weeks of June. The first two I'm doing summer school, credit recovery summer school. And the last two I'm doing high school 101 for incoming freshmen. So
Wow.
pray for me because it may be
That sounds fun.
it'll be interesting.
You know what that means. If they're incoming freshmen,
mm,
time to recruit them for Key Club.
you know, I do know what that means, and we've already got a plan.
Right. Jack, it's 7:02. If you want to get started, we can do that.
if you could give me 1 second, I was gonna send Carly the link. She was asking for it, and then
Yep.
we'll get started. Sorry about that, guys. I'm here now. Let's see. All right, guys. So I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for attending. It's great that we have so many people here. I wasn't expecting this many. So yeah, Kira, if you could start up the presentation, that'd be great. All right, guys. So, if I haven't gotten the chance to meet you, my name is Jack Sladen, and I serve as the district governor of the Kentucky-Tennessee district. Kira and I decided that it would be best to hold this town hall to not only educate you about the upcoming dues adjustment, help one of our international candidates, Maddie, out with caucusing, and most of all, to make sure you know what to expect at international convention. All right, so like I just mentioned, some things to expect today are the tour overview, expectations/code of conduct, the dues adjustment, and the mock caucus. So if you are here and you are not attending international convention, sit tight for the first 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll talk about the dues adjustment and the mock caucus.
Okay,
All right,
so
so
go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
I'm going to pass it off to Kira to talk about international convention.
Sorry. I have ADHD, so that means I tend to jump the gun. So we will be going over just a rough overview of the itinerary. Now, you will be getting an email on all of this, but we just got it finalized with some last minute little adjustments. So first thing, Tuesday, you should have gotten an email from Steve already that has all of the departure cities and where you are departing from. If you are departing from a different city than what's listed, we need to know immediately because that lets us know if we can leave if we are expecting somebody else, and lets our adults know how to manage that. So please reply to that email if there are any changes. The times are as given. There was a slight change from what we announced. So originally we were going to do varsity later. We found out that they close early. So we will actually be leaving or eating varsity like as we are getting into Atlanta and then go to the hotel. So we don't stop at the hotel first. That's been the change. And then Steve will be leading us through the varsity because he's a Georgia man and he knows all about varsity. And he'll get to explain a little bit of the history of that and the significance as we get there. Okay. The next thing, Wednesday, this is a free day. So on Wednesday, there are going to be 2 places that KT can provide transportation to. Right. The first place is Centennial Park. Now, Centennial Park is where the 1996 Olympics were held in Atlanta. And it's like a giant green space. There's free activities to do there. There tends to be like food stalls and things like that. And then there are also some paid attractions that you can visit. We went through, Steve actually did this and got all the different prices for the paid attractions. So you can see exactly what is there. Again, this will be going out in an email tonight after this meeting. But here are the different things you can do. Now, the Georgia Aquarium, we are trying to get a group rate for that. But in order to get a group rate, we need 15 people to go at minimum. That is a pretty significant, like it goes from $42 to $49 if you order your tickets in advance. So that's already significant savings. If you wait till the day of, that goes up to almost $71. So yeah, if you're going to go to the Georgia Aquarium, I've never been. I've talked to Steve about it, and he said it's an absolutely amazing aquarium. It is absolutely massive, and they have some really amazing exhibits there. But if you plan on going, at least you need to order your tickets in advance. If we can get a group of 15 who wants to go, and we can purchase those tickets at the same time, you don't all have to go in a big group at the exact same moment. We just need 15 who are committed to going. We will purchase those after you send us money, and that way you can get them cheaper. The other places you can choose to go to, these are just the paid attractions. Remember, there are other things to do there. It is a wonderful space. Like you can look up Centennial Park online in Atlanta, and it looks great, right? There's all kinds of things to do. There's a big Ferris wheel that overlooks the whole area that's really popular. Yeah, so great place to go. And we'll be there essentially from like 10 to 5, I think is 10:15, I think is when the bus drop off is. And then like 5:15 is when we pick up. So we'll be there quite a while. The other thing is Six Flags Over Georgia. Again, we have group rates if 15 or more people can go. Here, come over. Okay, we can get group rates if 15 or more people go. That group rate is $36 as compared to the regular, that's $48. We will provide transportation. The one thing to keep in mind with Six Flags is that you will only be there for half a day, right? The park doesn't open until 11 a.m. So we will try to get you there as close to 11 as possible. But in order to get back to the hotel, because we do have Icon official events, like the official starting point of Icon is Wednesday evening, we have to be back at the hotel. So we're not going to have the time to let you stay there for any longer. So that's the one thing about Six Flags is you only get about 4.5 hours if you're going to go there, right? So that's free day. We will be sending out, again, all of this in an email. On that email will be a document attached. It'll be a Google Doc or Google Sheet that you sign up for what attraction you want to visit. So that way we can organize transportation and know who is going to be where. Now, if it changes later, we can know. We just need to get a good estimate of numbers. If you want those group rates, we are going to have to know by the deadline we give. If anyone tries to do it after then, I'm not sure if we can still get the group rate for the additional people. So that deadline's important. Talk to your friends, talk to anyone else who's going. Make sure that you are going to be doing what you want to do, and you let us know so that way we can make those arrangements. Right. The next thing, oh, that went back. Okay, so Thursday through Saturday is all convention activities, right? There's going to be full days of programming. There's a lot of things going on. We will have a suite, so some of the meals will be provided. There will be some that you can order on your own. International provides some. We provide some snacks, and all of that's detailed in the itinerary that we'll be sending out, right? And then Sunday we travel back. Everything, again, will be in the itinerary, but we depart Atlanta around 9. We get to Chattanooga around 11. Around 1, we stop in Knoxville. Around 4:30, we're in Lexington, and we will be getting lunch en route. Breakfast, we will have breakfast, like some grab-and-go things, like Pop-Tarts, along those lines, in our suite. So you can grab those before you go, or you can choose to get food somewhere else, but we won't be stopping anywhere, right? As far as what to expect, so general expectations we have. The first thing is there's going to be a lot of communication going out between now and ICON. We have several things that we need to tackle. We don't like to send it all at once because that would be an absolutely massive email and a lot of things for you to do at once. So we try to break it up into the different time sensitive things. So check your email often. This is like every other day. If you're not getting emails, we need to know that as soon as possible. If we are sending it to an account that you don't check as often, either you need to check it often the next couple times, or you need to send us, something else, send us your new email address for us to change it to, because we need you to get this information in a timely manner. There is something else that they have added, delegates. Okay, so if you do not know if you are a delegate, first of all, if you're one or two people, like 1 or 2 people are coming from your school, you're automatically a delegate. Okay, if there are more than that, then you've got to figure out who from your school will be a delegate. Those delegates should try to attend a delegates meeting. This is hosted by Key Club International. It is online, it's via Zoom. Here's the information. Again, it will go out in an email. This isn't the only time you're going to see it, but that is June 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's going to cover delegate responsibilities, caucusing procedures, House of Delegates overview, like what to expect, and then a voting software demonstration. And that is the big one right there. We're kind of doing House of Delegates right now. In a sense, we're doing caucusing, but some of the same procedures apply. But the software part of it, that's time when a lot of errors are going to happen. So the fewer people that have problems on House of Delegates day, the faster that House of Delegates is going to go. Last year, they went over by what, like 2-3 hours, something like that, Jack? Because one software wasn't working, people couldn't get it to work, and it was just a whole thing. And we expect House of Delegates to go long this time as well because of some of the things that Jack will be talking about later. So we want to speed that up as much as possible. We will be sending out the information. We will send out a link. If I can, I will try to send it to just the delegates if we can see who will be that person. If not, we'll try to figure it out and go from there. Right. The next thing, right, again, we're sending out these emails. Some of the emails will ask you to do certain things, and we will give you deadlines to do that. Please, if at all possible, try to follow these deadlines. If something happens and you know that you can't make it, like you're out of town, just send us something that says, hey, I can't do this right now. And we will take, that way we know, because some of these things we ourselves have deadlines to submit, right? So like group rates and things, we have to submit before a certain date or that offer is no longer available. So we need to get these things done, when we ask for it. More expectations for everyone, right? We will be sending out that sign-up sheet for Wednesday's free time activities. Even if you don't plan on going anywhere, just sign up for I'm not going anywhere. So we know, so we need everyone, students and adults, to sign up for that and to complete online forms. We're going to try to get as many of the forms turned in online as possible. They will be fillable PDFs. You won't have to have special software to run those. Pretty much any phone or laptop that's been purchased within the past 10 years should be able to run that. So nothing fancy there, but we want to get those turned in electronically so that way we're not collecting them as you're loading on the bus, and we can have everything and make sure there's no problems. Adult chaperones, we need to make sure that your background check is completed and your youth protection training is completed. Youth protection training, I think, has to be done every year. Background checks have to be done every 2 years. If you are not sure if your background check is up to date, we can try to find out. That's through Kiwanis. So we'll direct you to the secretary there, but we need to make sure those are done. Again, by the deadlines that we ask. The training itself doesn't take very long. It's an online training that you click through with some videos. We just need to make sure that we get it in. Right? And then as far as rules go, most of the rules are going to be highlighted in the code of conduct, which you will be signing. That'll go out in the forms. The big ones, all right, we're going to have an adult code of conduct and a student code of conduct. All right, so each group will get those separately. And we'll have to sign and turn them back. But the highlights from them: no smoking, vaping, or any other tobacco products, even if you are over 18. On that note, if you are going as a Key Club student, not an adult chaperone, then even if you've already graduated, you still are considered a student with Key Club, which means you still have to follow all the Key Club rules. We know you're going to college, we know you're, an adult. However, per Key Club's rules, we have to treat you as a student. So that means you still are subject to the Code of Conduct rules. So just keep that in mind. No drugs, all right, unless it's a prescription or something over the counter. One in particular that's listed in Kiwanis International Guide or Key Club International Guidelines is even, I don't think it's legal in Kentucky and Tennessee, but like medical marijuana, even if you have a script for that, it's still classed as an illegal drug according to Key Club International. So just be aware of that. No alcohol, right? And that's again, Key Club International, students or adults, right? Not allowed to have it. Follow dress code, right? That'll be in Code of Conduct. And then students, if you are leaving the convention hotel, you have to be with an adult. Okay, that's another reason we need to know who's going where at free time so we can make sure an adult is with the different groups going different places. So we want to make sure that everyone is safe, right? There's a lot of bad things happening in the world, and we want to make sure everyone who's going with KT comes back with KT, right? So that is to just keep everyone safe. So unless we specify otherwise, you're with an adult, especially when traveling from one location to another. Okay. All right, so I will hand it back over to Jack now.
All right, thank you so much, Kira. And one thing to note, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or I'm sure we'll have a little time at the end for some last minute questions. So coming up at this year's International Convention is the dues adjustment. So if you haven't heard about it, that's what this little section is for. So right here, before we go into like the bylaws and what they're actually trying to change, first, I just wanted to show you guys the actual budget itself. I apologize, the formatting is really weird because I'm not really sure why I did it, but I decided to copy and paste it instead of just screenshotting it. Looking back, that was an odd choice, but it worked out anyways. So the budget can be kind of confusing. You can see on the very left side the revenue, and that is how much money they make. So you can see from the Key Club International Convention, they make $252,000. However, if you go one over to the right, you can see that it cost them $409,000 for international convention. So that pretty much means that they are losing $157,000 for this year's international convention. Once you go through all of the different things that they're spending money on, you can come to a grand total that they are currently operating at a deficit of $123,000. And that is a lot of money. And that's just due to the way that a nonprofit operates and some reserves having to be dipped into. But as you can see, there's so many things that they are spending that they are not gaining any revenue from. And to help combat this deficit, the Key Club International Board has proposed 2 amendments to help solve these issues in the future. The first being, each Key Club shall pay to Key Club International or its designated fiscal agent annual dues of $10 for every member, not including honorary members. So what this means is right now, the money that you owe Key Club International when you become a Key Club member is $7. You also owe the KT District $7. If the dues were to increase to $10, that would of course be a $3 increase. However, one Kentucky-Tennessee bylaw that we have is that we match whatever Key Club International is charging for their dues, meaning the money that you have to pay to be an official Key Club member would raise $6 to be $20. And that doesn't include any extra fees that your club might add to it. The second amendment is about a gradual inflation increase. Beginning October 1st, 2025, and every 4 years thereafter, an automatic inflation adjustment shall be made to the Key Club International dues. The adjustment shall be made on the inflation rate for that 4-year period and will follow the policy as outlined in the Key Club International bylaws and policies. So this amendment is, of course, a lot more complicated. So the way this would work is every 4 years, starting on October 1st. So I'm pretty sure the first one would be October of 2029. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Kira.
The way I read it is that it actually goes into effect starting next year.
Okay.
But we might get a dues increase next year in addition to this year.
It was either that way or the other way that I was thinking. So pretty much every 4 years, there would be an increase based on inflation. So let's say inflation had caused in the past 4 years, or let's say, for example, in 2029, we know that, of course, that there would be a increase if this amendment that would pass. Meaning, let's say inflation rose 43 cents from 2025 to 2029. What that would mean is that the Key Club International dues would automatically increase to 50 cents. This will only happen in 25-cent intervals.
And the maximum, you want to explain the maximum amount it would go up?
Was the maximum $1?
Maximum's
Okay.
$1.
That's what I thought. So just to ensure that things don't get out of hand, there is a maximum to this, meaning that if inflation skyrocketed and it went crazy, the dues would only increase $1. And one thing to note, the reason why it is every 4 years is to ensure that a Key Club member does not experience an increase more than once in their 4 years of high school.
So are there any questions about the amendments? So do you want to explain who made the amendments?
So these amendments are being proposed by the Key Club International Board. They had met and they worked with governors and other administrators and members of Key Club International to determine what they felt would be best to secure the future of Key Club International. And that is why they decided on a $3 increase, which, if the $3 increase passed, that would correlate to a $6 increase for the Kentucky-Tennessee district.
Yes, and this is what will be discussed and voted on during House of Delegates. That's one reason we expect it to go long, because it's going to be a big discussion. People are going to be completely for it, completely against it, and then plenty of places in between. So there will be a lot of discussion. There will probably be some other amendments proposed that don't have $3. Like usually there's a few different amendments for differing amounts than what Key Club International provides. But that will be the place that all that discussion and official voting happens, and only the delegates, which is 2 per school, 2 maximum per school, can vote on that. Okay. And we will be discussing that more actually at ICON. We'll talk about it a few times to make sure everyone understands what's happening. I'm sure it'll be discussed all weekend and during the week. Like it will be a hot topic.
It will be. So, coming up on June 12th, I know we have a lot of dates throwing at you with some more Zoom calls. Key Club International will be hosting a dues town hall. So kind of similar to this, but instead it'll be all about the dues, and you'll be given all of the information regarding why they chose to propose $3 and why they feel it will help Key Club International. So on here, you can ask questions to the international board. You can speak your voice. We're going to have breakout rooms. That way you can kind of talk to an international trustee. And it's very beneficial. I attended the last 2, and it really helped me learn why they felt this dues adjustment needed to be proposed. And right there is the QR code if you would like to register. I will be sending that link out in an email with the delegate registration link. So yeah, does anybody, I know that was a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to drop them in the chat about the dues increase or anything that we've covered so far. All right. All right, guys. So if something does come up, feel free to talk afterwards once we're finished with the mock caucus. So, one thing that you do at International Convention, along with voting on amendments, is you also vote on your next international board. So, Kentucky Tennessee does have a candidate this year for the international board, and that is Maddie Gravitt. Maddie, if you just want to introduce yourself real quick.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Maddie Gravitt. This past year, I served as the Division 5A Lieutenant Governor, and I go to Maryville High School, and I'm an upcoming senior. And I am just so excited and honored to be representing the KT District.
All right, so one reason why we gathered everyone here today was to help her prepare for International Convention. International Convention caucusing is similar to DCON. However, she will have to speak a lot more and answer a lot more questions. So just a couple notes when you are asking caucus questions, please wait to be called on. I think you can use the raise your hand feature. That way I just know who to call on and who to call on when. And when you are called on, please state your name and your school before asking your questions. And just a general note, ask good faith questions that are relevant to the candidate and the office which they are running for. Here are some example questions. For example, what are the candidate's opinions on the proposed bylaws amendments? I know Maddie loves that question, so feel free to ask her about that. But yeah, so the way this is going to work is Maddie will give her speech, and then I will open the floor for questions, and we'll see where we go from there.
And before we do, I'm going to stop sharing this, but I will pull example questions back up once Maddie finishes her speech for anyone who might need to see those. Okay, Maddie, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maddie Gravitt, and I'm running for the office position as an international trustee candidate with the unanimous endorsement of the Kentucky Tennessee District. This past year, I had the incredible honor of serving the KT District as the Division 5A Lieutenant Governor, Public Relations and K-Family Committee Chair, and a Membership Development Committee member, where I received both the Robert F. Lucas Outstanding Lieutenant Governor's Award as well as the KT District's Governor's Award. On the club level, I also served as the treasurer for Maryville High School, and I participated in the Global Leadership Certificate Masterclass at the international level. Outside of Key Club, I enjoy participating in theater, band, student council, as well as volunteering with the East Tennessee Children's Hospital internship. As an upcoming senior, I recognize the need for passionate leaders to continue to serve and develop Key Club International to ensure a bright future for all members. And with that, I ask for your support in allowing me to help be a bigger part in that journey. I chose this position because of my love and passion for not only serving my community, but the hope that all of our impacts together can expand beyond each individual district and continue to work together to build a bigger and brighter unified organization. On my campaign poster, you'll see that I've identified 6 key points that I believe will allow us to continue to grow as an organization. I chose to use the acronym BRIGHT because Key Club without a doubt has been the brightest part of my high school career. The acronym BRIGHT stands for Build, Resources, Inspire, Involve, Change, or Grow, Highlight, and Together. To continue building our districts, I believe it's important to host additional webinars throughout the year on varying topics, including leadership, membership development and retention, public speaking, and so many more options. I believe it's hard to continue growing as an organization if we aren't giving everyone easily accessible resources. That would include the promotion of our programs and partners within KCI and other K-Family organizations, more awareness of all the scholarships, and encouraging members to participate in the GLC program at all member levels. I wouldn't be standing in front of you today if it wasn't for a friend telling me to take a risk, and that's why one of my biggest passions and goals is to inspire others around me and increase awareness of all the leadership opportunities in Key Club. As trustee, it's vital to cater to each district's needs, and I'll work with each paired district to increase and retain membership, serve as a liaison between the district and international level, and to continue highlighting each school's service to recognize the positive impacts they've made in their communities. Key Club is a worldwide organization with thousands of members who all make a difference in their home schools and communities. With these goals in mind, I will strive to lead us forward to continue making a positive impact on every member and Key Club International as a whole. And with that, I ask you again and your support in this journey to continue creating a brighter future together. Thank you, and I yield my time.
Thank you so much, Maddie. So now I will entertain caucus questions. Please state your name and your home school when asking a question. Lucy.
Hi, my name is Lucy Tang from DuPont Manual High School. So you talked about maintaining or, increasing memberships in districts. How do you plan on doing that?
Great question. So for membership development, I used my membership development committee from this past year to produce a handbook. And I know Key Club International also produces a lot of resources, but sometimes all clubs aren't given easily accessible ways to get that. So I want to increase our communication to all the schools to therefore increase those resources going out to them so we can build up more members overall.
Carly.
Hi, my name is Carly Hall, and I go to Tates Creek High School in Fayette County. You mentioned, increasing communications. In what ways would you be doing that? Since, a lot of clubs already send in their contact information, but are there other communication channels that you would try to implement?
Absolutely. So I think a big part of it is communication that everyone can quickly communicate. Not always people have, like all members have access to phone numbers or emails easily accessible. So I think by having a group meet or a remind setup, that's a quick and efficient way, as well as setting up possible opportunities like a Zoom call online. I know a lot of the international trustees right now have that, and I would definitely, hopefully, communicate more effectively with all members, even on a club level from that.
Jack Slayton, Bardstown High School. What's your stance on the proposed dues increase?
Thank you. So currently, I choose to remain neutral on that. Given that I do not know each district's stances on that, I believe that I would not have the effective opinion to make that decision, given that I'm not paired specifically with a district right now.
You can ask multiple questions too.
I can't, go ahead.
Hey, this is Steve. May I ask a question?
You can.
Maddie, does this mean that you don't have an opinion yourself about the dues increase?
No, but I do think there is going to be a need for a dues increase. I don't know that I completely agree with the policies presented right now and the current amendments, but I don't necessarily disagree. I just don't think that I have enough information given that I don't know each district's individual stances on those dues.
May I ask another question?
You may.
What does it matter what the other district's feelings are about it related to your opinion?
Because in the end, I would be representing what districts I'm paired with. And so I feel like currently, I think there is a need, and I would try to communicate that with whatever districts I'm paired with, but I do not want to. That's it.
I will also ask a question. I can't raise my hand because I'm sharing my screen. So Kira Wilburn, Boyd County High School. What qualifications do you have to be an effective international trustee?
Sure. So given my past experiences as a lieutenant governor, as well as serving on the club level and the international level, I feel like I've had opportunities that have gone through each level. So I know what it feels like to be a member and to be seen and represented on each level. And I feel like I definitely have the qualifications to provide support to each other member on every level as well.
Thank you. I have another question. So you mentioned your views on the dues increase, right? What about the other amendment being proposed with the gradual increase? That's automatic.
Like I stated, I think there is a need for an increase, but I'm choosing to remain neutral right now. Can I add something?
Can I ask another question? May I
Yes,
excuse me, may I ask another question?
Yes.
Hey, Maddie, you mentioned being membership development chair for your district, and you would use those skills to increase Key Club International membership. How did membership increase in your district last year?
I believe it did. We did increase our membership. We had one club reactivate.
Jack Slayton, Bardstown High School. What would you say is your biggest weakness and how will that affect you?
My biggest weakness would definitely be my self-criticism. I think a lot of times I absorb myself in trying to make everything perfect. And yes, while those resources that we're trying to make as best as possible, sometimes they have to be just genuine and honest. And I think with my self-criticism, it's a little hard to just add that personal touch to everything. So I will definitely try to get over that and help that with other people as well.
So Kira Wilburn, KT District. So the office that you're running for is incredibly time consuming. How will you manage your time and be able to do your job as an international trustee?
So from this past year, like I said, I represented both the club and the district level, and I was able to work through both of those. And I definitely think trustee does involve a lot more time, but I'm making that a definite priority. And I have time set aside just for Key Club stuff, and I plan to continue working with my club as well. But also, they know that international is going to take up a huge amount of time, and I want to help them with that.
All right, I'll go. Jack Slayton, Bardstown High School. What is the Thirst Project?
Sure, the Thirst Project is an organization, a nonprofit organization that helps provide clean water and sanitation and all of that to kids and just the community overall.
Aubrey.
Hi, Aubrey Skrnovitz, Rossview High School. Why do you think you would be the best fit for international trustee specifically as opposed to other positions?
Great question. So for me, for trustee, I think I wanted this position last year when I saw that they are the next level, getting to go from the international president and the vice president and direct communication from them specifically to each district governor. I know that the international president and vice president both also correlate regularly with the district governors, but I think the trustee has the most valuable time with their communications to each individual member, and I want to be there for them more than another higher position would be.
Stefan.
Hi, I'm Stephen Pierce from Unaka High School. What are the core values of Key Club?
Thank you. So the 4 core values are caring, character building, leadership, and inclusiveness. Caring. Sorry.
Carly.
Carly Hall at Tates Creek High School. What core value would you say would be the most you would be focusing on this year?
This year, one of my, I don't have a favorite, but the one I would probably be focused on most would be caring, just because I feel like some clubs can feel that they're unappreciated sometimes, and I definitely want to show them that I'm there for them and I care, and also just bring them together as much as possible with our organization.
Kira Wilburn, KT District. You mentioned that one of your goals through your platform is to increase communication and increase accessibility of the different resources, programs, partners. How is that going to improve the members' experience, like at that level?
Okay. So I think on the international level, a lot of times if you are on just a club level, you sometimes don't have the accessibility if you are not directly involved as much in your district. So I think by reaching out to specific schools more as an international organization rather than each individual district, I think we can get a lot more accessibility for them and also overall more communication going and getting started. And that would also help correlate straight into their districts to help them.
Aubrey.
Aubrey Skrnovitz, Rossview High School. What have you done to prepare yourself personally for taking on a higher or more time-consuming position?
Great question. So I've definitely put in a lot of work. I have reached out to a lot of people to gather their advice and their opinions. And I think that's vital because you have to network in order to achieve something such as great as this. And I think it's been very helpful getting other opinions and views on, if it's something that, I should pursue. And I definitely think I put in a lot of work to prepare myself for setting up for decon as well as icon now.
I think we can take one more question. Right, Maddie, then since no one has any more, is there something you wished someone would have asked?
The last bullet about clarifying or further explaining their platform, I think, I'm trying to think specifically
Okay, so can you go into more details about your platform?
right now.
Why did you choose those things to work on as opposed to everything else?
Okay. So like I said, BRIGHT, it stands for Build Resources, Inspire and Evolve, Grow, Highlight, and Together. I definitely wish that people would have asked more about highlighting because, like I said, a lot of schools do feel unrepresented. And that is if you're on a club level and you're not as involved as heavily within your district, there's not going to be a lot of communication going on through the international level. And I feel like a lot of clubs get left out on that part. I know for Maryville personally, we are more active in the division, but there are some schools that are brand new and maybe don't get to participate in their fall rallies or even their decons. So definitely that. And then also, actually, that's the only one I have right now off the top of my head.
All right, great job, Maddie. So, this is something to the adults too, and students, you are more than welcome to. Is there anything that you felt Maddie could improve on, or just some general feedback for?
I think getting a firm stance of what you're going to say on dues and just running through every possible way that they could ask you about dues, because they're probably going to ask every candidate something about that.
I think next week I'll have a better response to that because given that there is another amendment webinar next week, I'm making an attempt to be there, but I do know I have some that night, but I'll try to hop on for a little bit just so I can revisit that.
Any other feedback? Right, Steve, you did this for a while. Is there anything in particular that you would give advice to Maddie for?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm stepping back and forth. I apologize. We're watch my granddaughter make an All-American softball squad thing, so that's why I'm back and forth. I apologize for that. I think, Maddie, you got. I'm not sure what's been said, so I want to be careful that I don't repeat. I apologize if I do. I think you got to work on that answer about the amendments. That's just me, and other adults feel free to disagree. Especially if you're going to say it depends what I don't know how other districts feel. I don't think it matters how your other district how other districts feel. I think you've got to have an opinion. I'm not sure how much you want to express, but I wouldn't try to say, well, how I feel depends on what my other districts say. That's the main thing that comes to mind. That may have already been said. Go ahead, Kira. I'm sorry.
I think one way you could kind of temper that response, just give your opinion, is you've heard this mainly from discussion within your district. You have not been you haven't been exposed as much to other districts' viewpoints on it, but based on what you've already, talked about with your peers, this is your thought on it. So it's still recognizing that you understand other districts may have a different perspective, but this is, your stance as of what you know now.
And keep in mind, all this is going to be decided before you take office. So you're going to have to deal with whatever's there. And that's why your opinion now matters, because all of you are going to be in the same boat once you're elected. Does that make sense?
Something, I know we're kind of like past the question phase, but it's on topic. What are you gonna say if a question comes along of, okay, so what if our membership drops? We've been working to build back since pandemic, and then we want to give a dues increase that for many districts will actually mean $6. What do we do when people can't pay that? Yeah, so something to be thinking of.
Well, and one of the things I would mention, that's why our decision in the House of Delegates is so important. We have to consider all those things that could happen. I mean, that's you said you think a dues increase is necessary, but you're not sure how much. That's a good way to follow. So that's why our deliberations in the House of Delegates are so important. We have to balance how much we need versus how much we can afford. Something like that. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And keep in mind, Maddie, these are just my thoughts and they may be way off base, but since when asked, I'll be glad to give you my thoughts. So.
Okay.
And I'm glad to have an offline conversation if you'd like to sometime.
Okay. So Maddie, is there anything else that you would like feedback on or any particular?
I think I'm good right now.
So then that's pretty much everything. We have a space to ask questions for like anything about caucusing, anything about upcoming dates, anything that you can expect to come out in emails about ICON in general. Anything's on the table. So does anyone have any questions concerning that? For adults, do you have anything to add? Okay, so then Jack, is there anything that you would like to finish up with?
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining. If you do have any questions that come to mind after this, feel free to shoot me an email, jack@ktk.org or kira@ktk.org. And you can also find our emails on that big group icon email that was sent out. But we will also be having another call. It's pretty much going to be the exact same call next week on the 14th. So if you would like to join, feel free. You'd have to sit through the same ICON and dues talk, but it would be great, especially if you want to help Maddie out with caucusing.
And so I think that's everything for the incumbent. So that our current KT board, if you can stay on for just a few minutes, we just have a couple things to discuss for summer board. Everyone else, keep an eye on your emails. We'll be sending out a lot of stuff and just let us know if you have any questions. All right. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to attend.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys. See you all next week.
All right. Bye, Maddie.
Bye.
Mhm. Okay. There. All right. So real quick, we just wanted to go over some things for, oh, there was a chat, something I just saw pop up in chat. Did you already get that?
It was
Steve.
Oh, okay.
I did it. It was Steve.
Okay. I'll stop sharing. That would make this a lot easier. I'm working on multiple monitors and it doesn't, Zoom does not like that. Google does fine. Zoom does not. So just real quick for what to expect for summer board. For those who haven't attended, so I think mainly it's just Katie, this is a camp setting. So we will be in cots. We are in like group rooms. So like boys are in one room, girls are in another. Which means if you are a light sleeper, like poor Miss Hamilton, you better bring earplugs or headphones or something because there will be snoring at some point. Last year I got up and I woke up to like use the restroom. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning and poor Miss Hamilton was just like staring into space, looking for the abyss. Like she was not happy. And so yeah, be aware of that. It means you're also going to have to bring sheets, right? Towels, like shower flip-flops because it is a camp setting, outdoor clothes. It is casual. So you won't have anything fancy you've got to pack. It's jeans, t-shirts, shorts the whole time. We are buying our own food and cooking it, which means if you have any dietary restrictions, we need to know. We will be sending out an email asking for it, but make sure you reply to that because we need to know, we don't want Patty running to the store 5 times because we have dietary restrictions that we didn't know about. So just make sure we know that in advance. There will be outdoor time, right? There's a lot of hiking. Aubrey, didn't you go hiking at like sunrise hike? Yeah. So you can,
It was
so
rough.
is it like a strong enough hike to need hiking boot or like shoes?
No, you'll be
tennis
fine with
shoes?
just tennis shoes, but it was just don't go at 5 a.m.
You guys were, I think Blake said, the first group that ever followed through with the sunrise hike. He was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, because he thought that nobody was going to show up. And sure enough, at 5 a.m., here they come. So yeah, there's a pool, so you can bring swimwear. But there's no towels or anything. Like we have to provide, if you're going to use it there, you've got to provide it yourself. It's not like hotel where there's amenities. Otherwise, Jack, is there anything that I forgot or?
Kira, you did a great job covering that. One thing to note, if you haven't already started on that, don't forget about your board report. That is very important. Refer back to that email that I sent out. I think it's just subjected board report. So you can just search that up. And if you are a committee chair, so Lucy and Aubrey, also be prepared to bring your committee report with you.
And I think that's mainly everything, right?
Mm.
Lucy and Aubrey at some point, and Jack, of course, before oh my goodness, my phone beeps and I got distracted. So the week before summer board, we need to have an executive board meeting. We've got a couple things to go over. It shouldn't take very long. But there are some things that we need to do, and before summer board, some business we need to have attended to. And then Aubrey, just let me know when the laws and regs meeting is, because we've got to finalize some stuff before I can send it out for Icon. Right. So anything else? All right. So then if there's nothing else, of course, you can always reach us at email. Otherwise, you guys can get off of here. Thank you for stopping by.
Yes, thank you all so much.
I guys,
Kira.
see y'all in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Kira, I have a date if you would